Hi.
Hello.
Good night.
Good night.
And good morning for the people that are going to be watching us in India.
Yeah.
Um, so this is going to be our second live in YouTube, and we have a very special guest. He is from at Hunks on Heels. He's a trekker and a traveler and
So,
software engineer. And as he said on his video, he's a narrator more than anything. So I'm sure that we will have a lovely talk and get to know him better. Let's invite him in. Okay, let me text him and make sure that he's known what to do.
nice.
Okay. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions for us or any questions for our guest, he is originally from India. Sorry, Andres just blinded me. He's original from India. So obviously, if there's any questions that you want to ask about India, apparently he's from the northern side of India. So if any of you have been there and you have any comments about it, or if anyone is curious about traveling in India, always a good thing to let us know. All right. In the meantime, for those of you that don't know us, we are Sherry,
Andres,
and together, plus our three little dogs and our home on wheels, we are
Buenavidaroute.
Exactly. All right. So I don't know what's going on. We sent them the link a little while ago. I hope that he figures out what he needs to do in order to join us. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Well, I guess we'll talk a little bit about ourselves. Meanwhile, he hopefully joins on. We travel in the 91 Toyota Dolphin all throughout the US. We bought her, and we speak about her as a her because we named her La Chata, which means small flat face in Spanish. And at the time, we used to have 3 Shih Tzus, so we kind of named her in honor of the 3 Shih Tzus. Andres was the one that found her.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them a little bit why we chose her in the first place?
I think we really like Toyotas, and it's something that we noticed that is really reliable, and we can find parts everywhere around the world, and it's I think has that vintage style that we really like.
Yeah, but it's also pretty spacious considering that she's only 20 feet long, 7 feet wide, which leaves us with less than like 80 square feet inside of it. Yet it's spacious enough that we've been able to host 6 people for dinner, and that we have a little shower, and we have a compost toilet, and we have pretty much what would be a full kitchen. So for someone like me that likes cooking, and for us both that like entertaining, it hasn't been too big of a leap from living in a house. We even have enough space to have our 3 little dogs on board with us. Okay, so it sounds like our guest is going to be trying to join. I hope that we did this last time. It wasn't that complicated, so I hope that the link that we sent him is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little bit more about us. Me. Oh, there we go. There we go. Kapil, are you there? Let me see. There we go. Let me add him on.
Hey guys.
Hello.
All right. There we go. I was a little worried. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Very lightly. You might need to speak up a little bit.
Just a minute. Let me raise the sound. Is it fine now?
Yes, much better. Thank you. All right. So we were introducing ourselves and just talking a little bit about ourselves. Meanwhile, we waited.
Good evening.
Okay. Did you hear that?
No, I just missed your last sentence. Come again, please.
Okay, that I just said that we were introducing ourselves and talking a little bit about ourselves. Meanwhile, we waited for you, and then we said a little bit about who you are. But obviously, let's have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think you're here
Sure.
with us.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Okay, so hey guys, all the audience right now, right? And right now I'm talking to Sherry and Andres, right? Uh, Myself, my name is Kapil, and I belong to India, right? The incredible India, of course, right? And yeah, so uh, I've been into this traveling and trekking things for last few years, maybe 5 6 years, right? I'm a mountain guy. Basically, I live in the north part of India, which is in the foothills of Himalayas, basically. So I feel lucky enough to be, surrounded by all the gigantic mountain ranges, and that's sort of something which kept me teasing from my childhood, right? I should climb that mountain, or I should do that trekking, this trekking. Eventually I was doing it because I still remember my when I used to go to school in fifth class, I used to trek to 5 kilometers around on
Wow.
uphill. So that was my school kind of thing. I didn't know this is called trekking that time. I used to
It
just
was just it
put
was
my
just
school bag.
walking to school for you.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. So I just used to put my school bag on and plucking apples from here and there, stealing apples from orchards, and then getting abused by the owners as well, right? So this is how we used to do. But yeah, something was there, obviously, right? And personally, I'm 38 years old, and I've been working in IT industry for last many years. I mean, around 12 years per se, right? So I've been creating softwares. As I said, my introduction, I'm creating softwares for my earning, for my bread and butter. But when it comes to peace, when it comes to earning a peace, so I go to mountains. So last 5 6 years, I've been doing this, and we casually started treks and travels. Basically, we started treks in a group of office colleagues, and then we started it when we started in back in 2017, I believe, 16 or 17. And that time, we were just taking it very casually, very normally, let's go to that mountain, let's do this, let's do that, quite unprepared, quite underdog, I would say, in that sense, because despite of the fact that I'm from mountains, trekking needs some planning and some systematic things, right? It's not like just you walk away on the mountains where the resources are nil. They
And
are not.
probably some equipment and security measures too.
Exactly. I remember still first time I did my trek, I was doing in a sports shoes. So
Probably not the brightest of ideas, yes.
Oh, somebody say
yeah,
hi
and
from Chile.
Yeah. Hola,
Yeah.
hola desde Chile.
Yeah. Viajeros.
Saying hello from us from
Yeah.
Chile.
hi
Wow.
guys, hi guys. This is
They
Kapil.
also
Thank you
have
for
really
joining.
tall mountains, so they probably do some nice
Yeah,
hiking as
actually
well.
have very
Yeah.
Hmm.
great. So yeah, so it was happening like this. We were unprepared. We were not having many stuff, right? So we just kept climbing, and first trek, I believe, it was a failure for us. So it was a failure for us in such a thing that we were 8 9 guys, and we drove all the way around 200 kilometers in night, and in morning we started trekking without even getting a sleep. And one of us got sick. He was exhausted. So the base camp where we had to land that day and then come to the top next day summit. Uh, it was like that he got sick very bad. I mean, in the evening, so we gave him medicines and hoping that he will recover by the morning, but that didn't happen, right?
Wow.
So he suggested that you guys go, and you anyways need to come back to the base camp, and then we will wrap up and go back. But somehow it went like this, that nobody went up. All the 9 guys just went down, right? And we started our back journey without even completing the track. That time I took it on my heart. Maybe you can say I took it on my ego or self-respect, whatever you call it, because I was taking it too much casually. I was not respecting mountains in that sense, right?
Was
Because
it
you need to.
was part of him getting sick an altitude sickness?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. We were at around 11,000 some
Oh
hundred
yeah.
feet, right? And the peak where we were need to go was around 12,500 peak, 500 feet, and that was the highest peak. That is the highest peak in that region of outer Himalayas, in lesser
Mm.
Himalayas.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'll come to that part about technicalities of Himalayas and how we do it, and how we take care of things. But yeah, that happened, right? So
Because
we went back.
I just recently got back from Peru, and
Oh,
the highest point that we were at was almost 14,000 feet. But even at like 10,000 feet, you feel it.
Mhm.
Even just going up the little hill or going up the stairs to our Airbnb, you definitely feel it. I mean, I'm not in the greatest shape, and neither were the ladies that I was with. But obviously, we were not prepared for that. But yeah, I mean, just regular walking is hard, let alone trying to hike.
Mhm.
So,
Sherry, we gradually learn how to walk. Basically, when we were starting, I'm telling you, we were starting, we were just running. We were not eating properly. We were like that. Let's finish this mountain. So, in a sense, we were not respecting that, right?
right.
And and that was a result. So, what happened? That was in the month of June, and we usually don't trek in the month of July and August because these are rainy seasons, and these are not suggested to be. Right? You
Mhm.
can stuck in any unavoidable situation, any undesirable
Right.
situation, right? It can rain heavily, it can landslide even, right? So there are many factors. But when we were going down now, we were all sad because we didn't completed it, and I was very sad at that time. Hangson Hills was not born in that sense,
Mm.
and we were just tracking, right? And I'm a kind of person, who took, if I want to do something, if it didn't happen, that teased me a lot. Right. So we were going down, and then I decided, couple of days I talked to a couple of my friends, they were my office mates as well, that we need to go back there again. Same mountain, same track, we need to go back again.
Mhm.
So we decided to go back after 2 months. Yeah. So it happened, and after 2 months we went there, from the other route, from the other side of the mountain to the same mountain. This
Mm.
time, this time we took a shorter route, but this time we did it. And when I completed this thing along with my friends, next time, second time, I cried. I cried on the peak because that peak was teasing me. That peak was haunting me basically. I had many dreams about that thing, and I was thinking that why it happened, what went wrong, what is something which we didn't planned yet. Next time we were very much planned and very much organized. So yeah, so that's how it started. Since then, I've been, in a nutshell, I've been covering many tracks. I've been researching on Google Earth for various trails which are unheard of, maybe
Mm.
less used trails, because there is something amazing about those trails where no one goes,
Yeah,
and
that's what
even
we
many.
like doing too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what
The ones
exploring
less,
means, right?
the ones less traveled.
Remember that we were watching I don't know, a movie or
A
something
document.
about somebody
Yeah, you
from.
probably know about the Nepali guys
Mhm.
that did all
Sherpa.
13
He
higher
climbed
peaks
all
and
the 8,000 and 6,000 peak.
right
This guy
in
is
a very
amazing, man.
short amount of time.
Yeah, that
Uh,
one was
uh,
impressive. I
It
say,
was
wow.
the previous world record was somebody in the 70s that took
Uh-huh.
him 13 years to do,
Mhm.
and these guys did it
exactly.
in a few months.
Yeah.
Those
Crazy.
communities are gem of a person. There are villages in the foothills of Everest, and those guys do their living with that, right? Sherpas, they
Mhm.
are called Sherpas. Those guys are amazing. Obviously, I've been following that guy, and I don't recall his name right now, but this was amazing what he did. And
Yeah.
recently, one girl from our state, Himachal. Himachal. I'm from Himachal. I'm from a state called Himachal Pradesh, and this state lies in a very north of India, exactly adjacent to Himalayas, along with Jammu and Kashmir, the other state. So there is this one girl recently, last week, she conquered Everest, and she's the first girl from the state. And she
Wow.
Wow.
conquered one other peak, I believe, Lahore State, the adjacent peak to Everest. Yeah, this is how it goes. So then we started, and one of my friend started making this doodle on phone. He was using his finger as a pen, and he was drawing something, and I have thought of this name somehow. I don't know now. I don't remember why this name came to my mind. right? But I've thought of, probably we were 9, 10 guys, you know. I decided that name Hunks on Hill, something like this. Um, but later on, I realized that Hunks can be anybody who can climb, right? It should be by attitude and not by gender. So, so one of my guy friend, he was drawing something, right? And he was just playing, creating avatars, right? You know, if you see the logo, if you can see the logo, this logo, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. This logo was created on a phone, actually, on a casual thing in 4 or 5 days, like in the lunch interval when he's sitting with us
Wow.
having beers. He's just doing that, creating avatar from his finger, like something, and then he created this moon, white moon, half, right? So he
But
told
we
me that,
really
you know,
liked it. I
see,
love
Yeah.
how when in your videos, it sort of fades in and out, right?
Mhm.
And because it's black
that
and
is,
white, that whole silhouette situation is very cool.
But
it,
the
it was happened.
inspiration was from that guy. Oh,
Yeah, his friend was the one that created it on his phone.
wow,
Very.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So he went us with the track, you know, right? And he did that. So I like that logo kind of thing. I told him that, you know, his name was Kuldeep, right?
And
I told
and
him that.
do you sell those chairs?
Sorry.
Do you sell the chair? Like,
Are you
No,
selling the
not yet.
t-shirts?
Not yet.
no,
Not
no,
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I wish I would be, finger crossed.
no.
But
And we're
yeah.
trying to sell our t-shirts too.
Yeah, yeah, but we really like the t-shirt. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yours is really nice
Uh-huh.
too.
Yeah.
And you know, then we decided it, and I love that logo. I asked him that, you know, I need a high quality SVG of that, so that I can process it further. And it happened. He gave me somehow that SVG. We created that and we modified it. And actually, it was real. I mean, we in starting we were 5 guys who were very close, right? Who used to go anyways on the track, apart from the other persons who joined us on the track. So we were
Mhm.
5,
Okay.
right? And so that's why there are 5 guys in the logo,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the center one who is holding that GoPro, that's me. Because
Ah,
I used to do that.
Who started the group?
I started this group
Oh, that's cool.
because yeah. So I was
but
very
you're still
pleased. I
hiking
mean,
together.
not one guy is there, right? And even another guy, he just, you know, um, became father, so he was busy, right?
Mm,
And he shifted a job somewhere, and then COVID strikes in, man. We'll talk about COVID, because in COVID there were everybody apart. You know,
right.
our friends
Right.
went to their hometown for work from home mode, and I was living in Chandigarh here. So it happened like this, and it was actually a real scene. I mean, we saw a big moon standing. We were standing on a mountain like this. So he
Mm,
got his imagination working, and he did it. And I'm very
Wow.
thankful to him, you
inspired.
know. And
Amazing.
yeah, we were and this is how it plays. We were not planned any logo. We haven't planned any logo or something like this. So it eventually happened. Uh, so we decided that logo, and then later on, when we did our next track, we didn't have a T-shirt that by that time as well, but we just did the track. And then I thought of creating my travel journeys. I mean, creating the stories related to my travel journeys.
Mhm.
Maybe shooting it properly, something like this. So that's how I came up with the idea of having a YouTube channel, uh, and document my journey. The first thought behind starting a YouTube channel was that I'm from IT background, guys. So I have a lot of, you know, data hard disks moving here and there in my home. I have 2 laptops with me right now. But still, when I need to find some data, I can never find it. If I need to find any pic, I can never find it. Right.
Mhm.
So that was a big reason. You know, so I thought that let's document it, let's create it, let's put some effort and upload it on YouTube.
Hmm.
You know, and that's the thought that it will be there, preserved, whenever you want to see, wherever you want to see, you can see this.
Yeah, it's nice
So
to be able
yeah,
to
so,
look back on your journey,
Yeah. That's
and
that.
see how you've grown and how you've
We
changed.
we were talking about almost until 12:30 when we met. And that's
Oh, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So obviously for the people that are watching, we did our first live last week, and then almost immediately that day,
Mhm.
Kapil contacted us, and we started to chat, and we obviously hit it off.
Uh-huh.
And then he was telling us all about everything that he does, and then we were like, hey, would you want to do a live with us? And then that has continued on for like 3 days of talking online. But of course,
3 calls, 3
I
video
know.
calls, you know,
But of
get
course,
the real
people
out.
have to understand that Kapil is actually 12 and a half hours ahead of us.
Mhm.
So right now here in California, it's 8:20 at nighttime. And for you, it's like 8:40, like
49, yes.
9:10, something like that in the morning on Thursday. We're still in Wednesday and
Mhm.
he's already on Thursday.
That's pretty cool.
So this is our first
Already on
live
the
that we
Thursday.
do with somebody who is that many hours ahead.
Yeah.
We did do one with people in Spain, so it was like an 8-hour difference. But that's why we did it at this hour, because basically it's the only times that both of us are awake.
Mhm.
By the way, Sherry, that link we just shared, I mean, that YouTube link, is it working? Because I've got a couple of inquiries that I cannot join and all that stuff with
Well, no,
YouTube
that's
Live
not
Tech.
for other people to join. That was just for you to join.
Mhm.
No, not this link, that YouTube thumbnail which was showing there
The
on your channel.
YouTube on our
Thumbnail.
channel.
The
It's
one.
streaming on our
the one-
Yeah,
channel.
he's just streaming. Yeah.
It's streaming on our
streaming on your
channel.
channel?
Anyone that wants to watch us, just tell them that they have to go to Buenavidaroute on YouTube. I'm watching it right here on my phone.
Yeah, I have got a couple of
The other way around.
inquiries
There we
where
go.
they said that they cannot open anything, but let's see. Let me open it by phone. Let me check it as well. Here's the link.
It's happening.
Mhm. All right. And it's 7 people right now.
That's it.
Hi to everybody.
See, there we are. There we are.
There are people already.
Oh yeah, see, Diksha Sharma says yes, it's streaming.
Yeah, he's just streaming.
Yeah. So it should be. It should be there. The link has joined, but the video is not playing at my end. Maybe it will play.
He says I can
Well-
listen to you by Bahia.
But yeah.
I'm
Bhaiya.
not sure. I'm probably.
Bhaiya is a big brother. Big brother.
I'm probably butchering that pronunciation.
Now
but
we
yeah.
now we
Now we
know.
know.
Now we know. Big brother.
So yeah,
Bhaiya is
that
big brother.
sounds like,
It's like
that
Hindu.
sounds like bay in Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was. This is how it was. So let's see a couple of guys if they join, because I've just told them that this
Batika
is working.
29 says it's
It's
working
working properly.
properly.
See?
Yeah. She's my wife.
Oh,
Oh.
hi wife. She should tell us how is it being married to a guy that wants to climb 13,000 feet or more. I would be scared. Usually we do all of our crazy adventures together. So at
Yeah.
least if we're gonna die together. But I would be a little scared for him to say. In fact, even when I'm afraid of heights, but like
Mhm.
I'm afraid of heights when you are
Right.
on the edge of something.
Ronnie, you need to tell the story about what
Utah?
happened in Utah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So we were going to Utah, and typically I do more driving than he does.
Mm.
And so we were driving and we're going down the road, and all of a sudden it was like a dead end drop on both sides of the road. And I started having a panic attack.
Oh.
I'm like, I can't drive. And we were with a friend, and my friend was like, are you serious, or are you kind of joking around? I'm like, nope, I'm dead serious. And I was fortunate enough that there wasn't a car in front of us and not a single car behind us. And I dead stopped the car. And then I told them, I said, you have to drive.
Mhm.
But like, for instance, when we went there's a national park here in Utah that's called Arches. And most of the
Arches,
arches are close enough that you can walk. But there's one special arch that is a very top of a mountain. And I told him, I said, I've seen this. I don't think that I can do this. And so he said, I'm just going to do it on my own. When he came back, he was like, there is no way that you would have been able to do that. He says that the pathway was like a foot wide. And then you couldn't see the bottom on either one side. I would have like peed my pants if I did that. So I can't do that. So I can't imagine. It must be pretty stressful to be waiting for you for a few days, not only for height reasons, but obviously altitude sickness, avalanches, bad weather in any way of shape or form, somebody else that could have fallen. I mean, just all sorts of things that could go wrong.
And for how many days do you stay in the mountain?
It depends because I will tell you, the shortest trek we did was at least one stay in the mountain, very near to the summit, so that we can early morning get up. And actually, I have a craving for sunrise, and so is there for all the people who goes with me, right? And just before that, I want to tell you that right now we are three guys who are operating Hangson Hills. We are the active member of Hangson Hills. One name is Modit and another name is Nandan. They are my friends, right?
Mm.
So yeah, so we three to anyways go everywhere, right? And then surrounding us, there are people joining us who want to be a part of that adventure and all that stuff. So you're talking about mountains. Uh, it depends. At least one stay is there always, and it depends if we got late because sometimes we lost our ways, we lost the trails even, right? And there was a time when there was nobody in the mountain, and there was fog mist all around, and we just missed the trail, and we kept walking for 1 kilometer, and while coming back we were not sure where we went. Actually, we were not having GPS watch as well that time.
Wow.
So yeah, so this is how it goes, and trails are not well laid, unlike the tracks or trails in US and Canada. I have been following many trekkers. Like one is Alex Honnold. He's a climber, rock climber. He
Wow.
just climbed. He just climbed the biggest rock in Yosemite National Park last year. There is a documentary of it in Hotstar as well, on Netflix as well.
Mm.
But yeah,
Okay.
unlike unlike the trails in or facilities on the tracks in US, Canada, there are not much facilities in India. In fact, sometimes the forest department takes care of the things, but trails are not well laid sometimes.
And,
If you are going to a location,
did you see any wild animals in there? Like what kind of wild animal did you see?
what kind of
Wild animals.
wild animals? Yeah, we have seen that. So I was talking about that first question of yours.
Uh-huh.
Maximum longest trek I did it was for 55 kilometers,
Mm-hmm.
and it took us 3 days. It took us
3 days.
toll, and
Wow.
I will come to that story. There is a very dangerous and threatening story, and that's a story connected to wild animals. There was this track called Lake Dhinasar. It is a glacier lake, and it is situated at 14,100 feet.
Wow.
And
Wow.
this lake has a size of around one football stadium,
Wow.
almost. So imagine so much of a flat area on top of mountain, and that
Right.
lake is just residing by the side of a big mountain, the glacier-oriented mountain, and that's the highest point till lake you can go because you cannot climb that mountain. This is steep, right? Standing tall.
Mm. Sure. Well,
So yeah, so there's a lake, and we decided to go to that lake, and uh, it was in July. I was switching my job. I had 3, 4, 5 days. I had to go somewhere. I gathered my friends, right? I said, let's go, right? And in fact, everybody was discussing that it's rainy season. We should not go. We should not
Mhm.
go. As I told you that we don't go in rainy season. We still went. We took our rain accessories and all that stuff. We went.
does rainy season translate to snow that high up in
No.
the mountain? No.
Yeah, high up in the mountain, it's snow. Low up in the mountain, it's heavy rain.
Mhm.
Okay.
Lower side is heavy rain, and it's not stopping, and there is no trail, so it will become mud all
Yeah.
everything, right? And all that stuff, and it will be missed. There are high chances to lose your path, right? You will not get to pitch your tent anywhere. That's the main problem because
Wow.
after 9 or 10,000 feet, the tree line ends, and you don't have trees anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Trees cannot grow after 9, 10,000
Right.
feet anywhere
Right.
in the
Right.
world,
Mhm.
right? So after that, it's just meadows or small shrubs or small trees. So if
Mm-hmm.
it is raining, you cannot. And if it is raining in such high altitude, it is too windy, too much of windy, and it is chilling. So I remember, so we started that track, and somehow what happened was that we started late, and one of our guy in the crew, we were 9 people, he got sick again. I mean, that is not the same guy who got sick the first time.
Okay.
He was
Different guy.
yeah. So he was a guy, and he got sick. He was having some AMS. He was having headache. He puked a couple of times, right? And in
Altitude.
that scenario, you have limited food, limited water, and we were climbing a mountain. Basically, there were 5 mountains, and we need to went to fifth mountain,
Wow.
right? So
Wow.
if we were doing one mountain and then switching to next mountain, switching to next mountain like this, so it was like that. So we didn't have much water. We had food packed from our home because that was the first day.
Mm.
But what happened that he got sick, and there was a narrow trail, this narrow, I mean, and there was a deep trench down
Wow.
there, and there was the assisting mountain like this. I mean, this mountain, then trail, then trench.
Right.
So it was 11 in the night,
Hmm.
and ideally we should not trek. One should not trek after 6 when
Right.
it is getting
Of
darker.
course.
In fact, even before it is getting darker, you should spare 1 hour to get water from water source, pitch your tents, blah blah blah, everything,
Right.
and then chill out.
Do everything
But
before it
that,
gets dark.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but the mountain we were climbing, there were no space to pitch the tent. It was
And,
just trail and just zigzag motion up walking.
and what about the equipment? What kind of equipment did you bring to trek?
We generally have trek pole. We generally have the cooking equipment, right?
Mm.
I was coming to that point, and then I'll come to this point, because while cooking, we had encountered a couple of animals,
Mm.
wild animals, basically. So we had to sleep on that trail on night, and it was a wildlife sanctuary. We fought. I mean, we got into some argument that, some guys said that there's no lake, there's no path. We keep walking, we keep walking. We are not finding any plain meadow to pitch our tents on. It's already night. So track does that thing to you. It plays you with your mind, because it's not a luxurious trip, right? Where you're doing anything and everything, and everything is bearable. That was not the case. So we slept on that trail in such a manner that our legs were in the trench, like this,
Wow.
and we were lying our rucksack and sleeping bags like this, and without any sleeping bag, we just placed our mats because it was July, not much cold, uh, and we put our rucksack as a pillow, and then that guy slept with me who was sick, and we were all lying on the trail, horizontal, vertically on that trail. Everybody's feet of at least 1 feet was in trench. So,
Remind me not
and
to go hiking with Kapil ever.
no,
Ever, ever.
you will know. That was a track in 2019. That was in 2019, right? And then when this happened, and that guy along with me, I mean, we were slowly drifting, na? When we were getting sleep, so we were sleeping. We were slipping like down to the valley. So I just, did this, and I found that he was not there. He was slowly drifting. I pulled him from here and pulled him up.
Oh my
Because it was
goodness.
risky. It was risky. So then we all decided that we will not sleep. We will just lay down and wait for morning. So we were talking, and at that time, in out of all the misery, we were just watching at the sky, and we were watching thousands of stars shooting.
Wow.
They were, and everybody was. I was like looking at this, and I was telling the guy right to me that, hey, have you seen those stars, shooting stars? He said, I saw 5. Okay, I said, where? He said, there. So everybody was looking in its own direction, and everybody was able to see many shooting stars at the same time. It was
Wow.
How
so
beautiful.
big, full of stars, and our misery was gone. That case, we were talking whole night. We had a nap early in the morning, and 5 a.m. we woke up, and we started walking. And after walking 15 minutes, we got a meadow to pitch at tent
You could
in the
have gone
morning.
on 15 more minutes.
Yes, exactly. And we were fighting
But
so much.
that's what happens when you get to some place late at night. Everything just seems so awful
And
The last-
different.
yes.
and difficult. Yeah. The last time that we went, that we gathered with some friends, we went to, it's called BML land, which basically means that it's like free land.
Mhm.
It's like government land that they let you stay on if you want to. And we were close to a national park, but we got there really late at night, and it used to be a lake, but it's dried out. So obviously it's not even, right? Because it was the bottom of a lake at some point. And it took us like a good hour to finally find our friends. And it's pitch black. You can't even see your hand in front of you. And there's no light
Exactly,
pollution.
exactly. So what
I mean,
happened
it's
that
beautiful
day?
to watch the stars, but not so much to be driving or walking without any light source.
No, and the when we went to a place that was fogging. A lot of
Oh
fog.
yeah, that's different. Yeah, when we've been to like Oregon and Washington is very much like that, that you have to stop early because otherwise it gets so foggy that it's very dangerous for you to drive because you can hit another car, you can hit a deer, so
like we had a Toyota and we met with two more Toyotas that day. Remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately for one of them, the
Yeah.
next day they got hit. No, not the next day, that night.
That night.
That night they got hit by another car and their entire,
Oh shit.
which was their car and their home,
Mhm.
got flipped over and they lost their home.
They got lucky.
So yeah, for sure is one of those things that you want to learn to like just stop at a certain time when there's still some sunlight and
Yeah, for safer reasons. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I am not climbing with Capio.
But it
No
is happened,
more.
there are
At
I
11
go.
o'clock at night where you could just fall to your death.
No, it was our, we were helpless because we had to walk because we were not having any place to pitch the tent. Otherwise, we would have
Right.
stopped. That was, but it was, we got stuck. And next 15 minutes, we were in the morning, we were at the Meadowland, right? I'll send you that video later. Man, you have to see that place. We were above the clouds, we were in heaven, and as we saw, have you remember that Windows XP wallpaper back in our time? The green meadow and the blue sky? The classic
back in
Windows
the
XP
90s?
wallpaper. Back in the 90s or maybe
Yeah.
early 20s, the iconic wallpaper of Windows XP with green meadow
Right.
and blue sky.
Right.
I saw exactly the same place, exactly, and I was like, "This is Windows XP, man." I was like this only. And
Pankaj Sharma says, "Hi guys, interesting live session. Good to know your experience, Kapil. Great.
yeah,
Hi, Pankaj.
So-
I'm guessing he knows you too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The last time that I climbed a mountain, I tried to climb the tallest mountain in Costa Rica, which is not very tall, but in any case, and we went to go ahead and pitch our tent. And then again, rainy season, not the smartest of ideas. Rainy season in Costa Rica, it's a lot of rain. And so it was like 8 of us inside the tent.
oh,
And we were on a hill. I was the one at the lowest
Sliding.
part of the hill, and one of my friends was at the top part of the hill. And all of a sudden, we start feeling wet, like underneath us. And we were
Oh.
joking around with the guy that was at the top of the hill. And we were like, "Hey, did you pee your pants?" And like all of us are getting some of your pee. And, we just kept on talking about that. All of a sudden, we were dragged by the water.
Oh, shit.
Everything.
It was sliding.
everything. It was sliding down the hill,
Oh,
and we
man.
hadn't noticed. Obviously we had put stakes in it and everything. We just didn't respect how hard nature can hit you in a situation like that. And it was a group of about 25 people. We were like our friends of 6 people were in that tent, but we were a group of about 25 people. So all of us ended up with like wearing other people's clothes, boys wearing girls' clothes, and vice versa, because we wore whatever we had that was still dry. And then there was only one little structure there. And I remember it had like a firewood kind of a stove. It was just like a not a wooden, but a cement box that you could put wood in it. So we made a fire. And then literally we had like our underwear and our socks and everything sort of hanging around trying to get it to be dry, because the next day we still had to climb to the top of the mountain. And none of us had enough dry clothing to even be able to stay warm for that night. The place didn't have a door and it didn't have windows. And so we were like trying to put our own tent up. It was just so poor planning on our end. But like you said, you wake up the next morning and you look around and you're like, I am on top of the world. To me, at least at that point, that was, I'm on top
everybody
of the
feels
world.
that. Everybody, I tell you my thing. Yes, go ahead, please.
Kapil, which one is the most beautiful place in India? Because people that
Well, of what he knows.
That
India's
one-
really big.
yeah,
He
that
probably
one,
doesn't know all
yeah.
of India.
yeah, it's what I
Yeah,
know.
of course, but I try to. I've been exploring things, if not physically, even virtually as well. That what place are in checklist. I have a long checklist of the places where I need to go. But there are 2 answers to that. If you're talking about a most beautiful place can be a place where you can walk, you can drive, right? It can be not. It cannot be a hill station. Maybe it might not be a hill station. But if you ask me what is the most beautiful place in hills, because India, there are three main states which are connected to Himalayas, which are just adjacent to Himalayas. Two states are Himachal and Uttarakhand, which are neighboring states, and one is in northeast, right? So there are 5-6 states in northeast. So those are also adjacent to the K2 peak, the second highest peak in the world, right? You can just watch K2 from there, and it's the highest in India. It's the highest in India. One part of it falls in Nepal as well, so that's on that border side. But in mountains, if you want to travel somewhere by a vehicle, Kashmir, I would say there is a place called Kashmir, right?
Kashmir.
J&K, Kashmir. Yeah, Kashmir. It's heaven, and there's a proverb that if there is heaven, it's in Kashmir. It's a famous proverb, long time famous proverb, right? And then there is a place Leh, Ladakh, and these are the cold desert things, and you will see Milky Way everywhere there. I mean, just look up in the
Wow.
sky, you will see Milky Way, just like this.
Wow.
This kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
And right, and there is one cold desert where I went last year, which is Spiti. That's the Spiti Valley. That's a Trans-Himalayan region, and I went on a road trip there, and you have to do some off-roading to reach there. From one side, that off-roading is about 70 kilometers, but it takes easily 6-7 hours, and that off-roading has the 15,000 feet mountain pass, with no road at all. The glaciers, the water is rinsing there, and the glaciers are there already. So that's how hectic it is. And that's how you have high chance to stuck with AMS there. And that place has world's highest post office. That place has world's highest village connected with motorable road, and that place has highest petrol pump in the world.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to visit all these places last year. And in fact, I have made blogs out of it. I have made blogs from highest post office. I was lucky enough to send a postcard to my family, to my father as well, to my family from that highest post office, saying that, hey dad, I'm sending this card from the world's highest post office.
How cool.
That's pretty cool.
With the probability of whether it should not reach, or maybe it will reach too, but it reached eventually in 17-18 days.
Wow.
It got delivered. And that was a lovely feeling, because there were picture postcard there, and I met with that postmaster, the head postmaster, and you won't believe that post office is 8 by 8 room, and he sits down there on floor, right? He made all the stamps, and you won't believe on a tourist season, normal tourist season, almost 20,000, 16,000 to 20,000 worth of INR stamps got sold in a day.
Wow.
And one stamp just cost you 3-4 rupees, 4 rupees, 5 rupees.
Right.
And one stamp is enough to post a postcard. So you can imagine on a season time, maybe in summers, right? This is a season running on right now. People go there. People just post, they have a craving of putting their letter into the world's highest post box, or into the highest world post office. And then
I know Kashmir because of their fabrics. They're exquisite fabrics.
Exactly.
They're very, very expensive, exquisite fabrics.
Yeah.
Beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. They're like butter on your skin.
Yeah. And that is a place, we won't believe, that is a place that is so barren. There is a patch coming when you go to Hikim. Hikim is a village where the post office is there, right? Hikim is the name of the village. There comes a patch which look exactly like Grand Canyons.
Wow.
And I was wondering when I was driving to that road, and your car even cannot breathe sometime. My car was giving me an average of 4 kilometers per liter, man. I was getting a feeling that I was driving an Audi or what.
It's also
Right.
because of the altitude, no?
The fuel combustion is not proper, oxygen content is not proper, right?
Right.
And that just after Hikim, there is a place which is the world's highest village. That has a population of, I believe, 102 people only, 102 people, right? And that has a title of world's highest village, which is connected to motorable road. and that road is not road. That is off road basically. Road is not there.
Right.
So yeah, coming back to that animal thing, I encountered in that Lake Dhinasar, where we pitched our tent in the morning. We saw beautiful sunrise. We saw beautiful time lapses without even fasting it. The clouds are moving like this with a naked eye. You could see them like this, zoop, zoop,
Wow.
zoop, like this,
Wow.
right? And sun was there, right? There is a blog already on this particular track, right? And then we slept for a couple of hours in our tent. We had rest, and then we started our walk without our tents to the lake. We forgot our way. Eventually, we reached there. We had a bath in that lake in -1 degrees at that time in July,
Wow.
and it was like
Another
that. We were
reason
just
why I'm
stepping
not
like
going
this.
camping with Kapil.
Oh my God.
No, you are free. You have to decide whether you have to jump into the lake or not.
No, she needs to go because she's the one that cooks.
But he's interested. He
I'll
seems
be heating
interested.
up water to take my sponge bath.
No, but Andres, will you jump with me? You have to.
Andres will.
Yeah.
He's jumped into glacier water here, but
Mhm.
not me. I put my feet inside the water, and it felt like needles were puncturing my feet.
Oh, that feels so
That
good.
was cute.
I miss
That was
that.
No. And when we go to hot springs, the idea is that you are in the hot spring and then you have to jump into a really cold, like ice bath kind of a thing. And he does it, but I'm not able to do it.
Actually, when we went to Yellowstone, we found a really cool place.
Yeah.
In,
Oh, but that river
Yellowstone
was
National
still okay.
yeah,
That still was.
yeah. That and Snake River is the name of the.
Yeah, the river.
Yeah.
And there's hot springs on the edge of the river. You have to kind of
Oh.
hike a little bit to get to them.
Yeah.
But people have put rocks around it to make little pools. And so you're in the hot spring. And then the idea is that you dip yourself in the cold river,
and,
which, it's in Wyoming. So half of the year it's like filled with snow.
Great.
So it's really cold.
In fact, this hot springs, my birthplace is a place called District Kulu. Its name is Kulu. There are hot springs as well, and this is so much. You won't believe. At one place, it is the water as chilly as possible, and at next to it, it is as hot as possible. People used to put potatoes and rice in a cloth and just boil it up.
I'm
And
glad
it
to
just
know
boiled
that
with a-
other
with a
cultures
second.
do that too.
Uh-huh.
When I was a kid, we would go to volcanoes in
It
Costa
is all over.
Rica,
It is all over.
and we would
It is all
put
over.
eggs in it to make boiled eggs.
Kumar.
Prem Kumar.
Prem
It's
Kumar,
nice to see
yes.
you all,
He's my friend.
and good session.
Hey Prem. Hey Prem. He was the one. He was saying that I am not able to join earlier.
Oh,
he
okay.
joined, I
Well,
guess.
fortunately, he figured it out.
But probably
Yeah, he's from IT. He must have figured it out.
Yeah, probably we need to tell Kapir about our experience as a van lifers because it's beautiful. too.
Yeah, now we actually have seen a few people that are doing it in India too. So,
Probably we are going to have tomorrow. We have live.
yeah, we have tomorrow. We have a live on Instagram for any of the ones that are watching us that want to join us. With another couple from India that are currently
van.
they're currently in Colombia.
Uh-huh.
They've been doing all of the Pan American route, and so should be interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I'm interested. I'm excited. I will watch that.
yeah, thank you. So, all right. Well, you ended up not telling us what other animals you saw. We keep on interrupting.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. This is how travelers talk. There are so many stories to tell.
I
Yeah,
know
so
too many.
Yeah, so we did that track. We lost our ways. We eventually reached to the lake. We had a bath there, right? We came back. Now, while coming back, it started raining heavily again, right? So, and we were just like sleeping. Our legs were, up in the air every now and then, and we were lying down on our hips. I fell 3 times in 2 minutes, right? And
Wow.
fell hard, and it was like this and slanting, and
Like a
we
slide.
were
Mhm.
yeah, we were coming back to our base camp where the tents were there. Some guys were already left, so they must have reached earlier, right? We 3 were there, and we lost our way again because of the fog. Because we had in mind that far enough there was a ruined hut for local villagers. Maybe sometime they come up the mountain to collect some herbs, natural herbs, Himalayan herbs. So
Mm.
that time they stay there for a couple of days and then collect those herbs. They have identification. They know what herb is what. So we were having that landmark that it should be visible to us, but it was all foggy. So
Oh,
we lost
wow.
our way, and we
Wow.
crossed to the other side. There were very water streams. We crossed it, and suddenly we got to know that there were many horses gazing, wild horses. I don't know why they were here. Mules were there, horses were there, and one of them just went after us in a slant height where we were already slipping,
Wow.
right? And we three were running like hell. Like hell. and we were falling, we were rolling down, and one guy, he got stuck in mud, and he was like, "Bhago, bhago, bhago is run in Hindi."
Uh-huh.
Right? So we were doing bhago, bhago, and all that stuff, and eventually, now I was telling my buddy that for 1 sec, if the fog went out, I can see that place, and that happened. Right? That happened. We could see that hut, and far down there, we knew that after that there are tents. So we went to that direction. We reached there. We were all wetty, right? Sweat and wet at the same time. We changed our clothes. We made ourselves comfortable. We were celebrating that we did this track. Eventually, it was looking difficult. We were arguing. We were fighting that there's no lake and all that stuff. We found it, and for those 3 days, we were the only 8 guys on those 5 mountains. We saw nobody
Oh,
else.
wow.
Wow.
Now, the extra thing or extra person we saw was a leopard in that night. Right?
Wow.
So we
Very
were
cool.
cooking, and it was like that only. There were 3 tents, and there were 1 kitchen tent, open
Mhm.
kitchen tent in a hut shape, and we were cooking our stuff. So there were duties of many people that you will cook rice, you will cook the vegetable and all that stuff. We took stove and all that stuff with us. So we were cooking, and one person came to our tent. We were drinking, basically. We were having rum at that time. We were celebrating, right? So we were having rum, and one guy came to our tent. He was cooking. That somebody is there. Somebody is there. He could see the noise. And since we were sitting inside the tent, so we were not having fireplace because it was all wet. We couldn't find any woods or dry woods.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So we immediately thought that if somebody is there, that has to be an animal, because nobody is shitty enough or crazy enough, unlike us, to come to night air. So we just went out and we saw something happening, and we just had a torch on. 9 people had a torch on, and we saw his eyes. His eyes were reflecting back so bad, and he
Wow.
was sitting like in a cat mode, right? Like in the way that the cat used to attack. But we were 9, of course, so he anyways would not think of attacking something because we were hungry too. So we didn't cook that.
He would
So-
have been the loser in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ran
but
away.
if we would
He
have been
ran
a couple
away.
of guys, yeah.
Like, I don't want to
If we
become
would have been
bigger.
if we would have been couple of guys, he would have ate us. But then we started shouting a lot. We shouting, making noise and all that stuff, and that noise was so dangerous, so scary. It was scaring us back because it was coming back to us,
Wow.
Mhm.
right, in the mountains, and we were like, how loudly we are shouting, and he ran away. After 30 minutes, he came again because there was constantly food being cooked by us, and there was smell all around. There must be some pleasant smell he will be, having. So
He was
he came
hungry
there.
too.
Then, yeah, he was hungry too. Then
You should
we
have just given him
collected
some
a track.
rice and veggies.
No, we did that. We did that actually, but he don't eat veggies, right?
Of course.
So we put some fireplace. We collected our trash and we placed some fires on various places, and then we started beating our utensils like
Mhm.
this. And he ran away, and then after that we were already 2-3 bottles down, so we were having no tension that if he comes, let him come. Don't worry. Don't like that.
At
And
that
one of my
point,
friend, I
at
tell
that
you one
point, he would
crazy
have
incident.
had a drunk human for dinner.
No, we were very energetic that time because we were happy. We eventually got the track, and one of us, he was so drunk, he was asking the lighter from that leopard. Have you taken my lighter? Have you? He was calling like this. Hey, have you taken my lighter? He was doing like this.
Okay, one
That's
question. One question. When you are kind of on a tent and cooking in there, what kind of food is the best food to eat over there? Because the altitude is.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
see, first of all, you cannot eat much, irrespective of
Mhm.
the fact that how much hungry you are feeling. So, first thing is water. Water intake should not be less, and water should be with you always. You have to drink it sip by sip. Talking about the food, what we usually do is on the very first day of our trek, we pack a lot of food. I mean, let's say we take breads and we take vegetables, right? Already, from some hotel, and then we packed it up because first night we don't want to cook because there is a provision that why to cook, right?
Mhm.
So wherever we stay in our camp, we have that food. Apart from that, we have the green tea that is with us that helps with AMS. We have garlic. We keep garlic with us. If you chew garlic, AMS hit less, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
talking about the food, we just we can cook anything almost. We used to take potatoes and sweet potatoes and just wrap them in foil paper and put them in the fire.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's it. And then pull them out, open it, and it is crunchy enough, right?
Right.
Uh, we take peanuts. Peanuts is a very good thing. Peanut butter, bread, peanut. They're very rich source of protein. We have cashew, right? And some of guy who ate non-veg, they usually take the raw meat as well. They cook it. Like, so there are many compatible food coming these days. The packed food. We used to take that as well.
Like
You just need to
dehydrated
put
food?
water. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just need to use hot water, and then
Right.
it gets you done, right? So there are many options available these days. Yes, in fact, you can even heat your food without the fire. There are things coming like this.
Oh yeah,
I
the
was looking at
packages that you
Amazon
sort of
that
like
the
snap
packages.
together.
You put the
Military
water,
food.
it will caramelize. Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
so
it's like
it will
it's like
chemical reaction.
it started out for the military. It's military food.
Mhm.
Well, here
Yeah,
at
so we
least.
used to have light things. Basically, used to have light things, but meals at a regular interval, fruits, are the best thing to eat on a trek. Dry fruits are the best thing to eat on a trek.
Mhm.
Green tea is the best thing to eat to be drink on a trek. Right? Avoid alcohol, not at very high altitude, but when you come low down and after trek is there, you can uh, maybe celebrate a bit, something like this. But avoid alcohol at very high altitude. It hits you.
Right.
It hits you very hard
Does,
in
does
terms
mean
of
does mean no whiskey.
that's
Yep.
that's a
You
disclaimer.
definitely
Avoid That's a disclaimer. Avoid alcohol if you can.
you definitely feel it when you're up high. When I was in Lago Titicaca, my aunt had bought some anise, which is like licorice alcohol, and it's supposed to help
Huh?
with your throat and stuff. But like, I didn't have any of it, and the next morning they all woke up not feeling very well, and I was the only one that wasn't. I'm not a big alcohol kind of a person.
Mhm.
I was the only one that wasn't drinking, and everybody definitely felt it, even if it was just a couple of like little shots of it, kind of a thing. But it does help to keep you warm, so when it's cold.
Rum is one thing. Rum is one thing you can have. We used to take rum even in summers because in mountain there is no summer. It's always winters,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we used to take rum, and it helps us. Even we put that rum into our food if we are not eating that. Whatever we are cooking, we put that into it, and it got a flavor as well, and then a lot of things. But yes, don't eat fast food kind of thing. Don't eat too much of these snacks. They put some gas on, and you don't want any condition where you want to shit and you don't have a place available. You don't have water, right? So
Yes.
I I
More than
am
likely.
I'm very psychological. I'm very psycho about this. I don't eat, and if I see water source, I eat before that. I'll stay that. I'll eat before that, so that I can be easy,
Do
because sometimes
do you have to
water is
have
not there.
a permit in order to go on these hikes on the mountains in India?
No, you're asking about the facilities to pee and poo, right?
Well, sometimes in certain countries, if you want to go on a hike on land that it's like belongs to the government, or even if it's sometimes private land, you have to get a permit before you go up. And also, it's sort
There
of,
are few
I
places.
mean, if it's part of like a national park or national reserve, then they have some sort of control to know
Mhm.
who is up in the mountain in case there's like an avalanche or
Exactly,
anything. And
exactly.
of
That
course, they can
happens.
get you out.
That happens everywhere. I'll tell you one incident, and not incident. I'll tell you that there are registrations happening, right, on by the forest department at the very base, right? So they used to write what number of members are going, what are the numbers, where you are going exactly, right? Something like this. So that happens. It's for our safety only, right?
Right.
And there are permits, and in the state Uttarakhand, which is neighboring state, and that is a state where we used to go for every snow track. That's another experience which I'm going to tell you. Every snow track we used to go there. So it's -10, -15. So there has to be a guide with us. It's
Wow.
mandatory there. No matter you are from hills, you know everything, but there has to be guide, right? So if you are not if you are not the guide himself, then you have to take a guide with you. That's mandatory sort of thing. There are permits thing as well, yes, and it is noted everywhere that who is going up, because last year 11 trackers were died in the month of few months back even. My next video on YouTube is dedicated to them.
Wow.
I'm creating right now. It is being edited, but I went on a winter track this new year. I was looking at the last sunrise of the year from 13,000 feet in the
Wow.
morning, all snow,
Wow.
right?
What an
So
adventure, no?
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
so that was the case, and they died sometime. Sometime weather plays game. Suddenly weather got bad. It was disaster. It was all over snow. They forgot their path, and then eventually they ended up staying there for 2-3 days alive without any food, and they eventually died. So forest department recovered their bodies. So trek is a very sensible thing, guys. Talking jokes apart, uh, you should take track as seriously as you take any serious matter in your life,
Of
Mhm.
course.
right? It will give you very much of pleasure, I believe, right? And that's 100% guarantee, and you will see what everybody has not seen. Still, trekking is so popular, but still I would say only 1% of people are trekking in the world.
Mhm.
If you count that percentage, it should not be more than 1% for the real tracks, right? So if you are among those 1%, right, you should consider yourself lucky that you're getting chance to go up in the mountains, because you don't go to mountain calls you. If
Yeah.
he's not willing, you will not reach. There has been
It's a
incident with us
privilege.
where yeah, it's a privilege, so you have to, right, you have to keep them clean, you have to and respect that too
Of course.
sensibly, right? There are some guys, even some careless persons on the track, they don't carry even their water bottle, and they ask the water from the neighboring tracker, give me the water. And water is the most expensive thing on the track,
Wow.
most
Yeah.
expensive trick. So that's how it goes. So it's a very sensible thing, because it can cost you your life even if you're
Right. Of
not
course.
yeah, if you're not. But once you throw it, once you started respecting it, you starting enjoying so much of it. There is a proverb. I have written it myself. I had to draft it properly, but I feel that if you go to a hill station, people go to hill stations, right? There are towns, bustling towns, hills all around. I don't want to go hill stations. I want to go the hill on that hill station and then look at the hill station down there. That's something I like. Not looking at the mountains up like this, standing at some hill station. I want to go up there and then looking down there. That's the best place to uh, experience this thing.
Yeah.
I can
So,
imagine.
yeah.
And what you told me about spiritually is something that you feel in the mountains, no?
So, sorry, come again, please.
Spirituality.
Mhm.
Spirituality, yes, that's something which is very close to me. uh, I told you about first track, which was
I'll be
which was
right
a
back.
failure. Yeah, which was a failure, the first track. So that first track was a failure and it got hit, and next time when I reached there, I started crying, right?
Mhm.
That peak was carrying a statue of Lord Shiva. uh,
Mhm.
If you have heard about Lord Shiva, he's one of our god, right? In Hindu mythology, he's one of the god. He's the god of all gods, basically. So Shiva has been considered, Lord Shiva has been considered as a king of all the mountains, Himalayas.
Mhm.
Basically, he's been considered. So I was an atheist. Let me tell you, 4 years back, total atheist. I used to go to temple sometime because my mom said that it's your birthday, go, right, and all that stuff. But I was a complete atheist, and something happened on that track, man. Something happened, and we couldn't complete it. And next time we went there, I was firm enough, I was determined enough that I need to go up there. And that time I was not an atheist anymore,
Mhm.
right? I had tattooed him on my arm. Look at this, right? And then this is the belonging, this is one of his belongings, right? So basically it's not about religion, it's about spirituality. Every energy which connects you, you can be spiritual with it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's in that positive sense. I'm not blindly religious and all that stuff. I believe in all the religion, everything. I have friends with all the communities, all the religion, all the things, but spiritual means something else. So after that, it's been 8 tracks. I mean, on 8 tracks, I have been lucky enough to set a temple of Lord Shiva on the very summit,
Wow.
establish a temple. So what we are doing is that we took a collaborative decision. Hanson Hills, remember, this thing came into my mind once, that if I reach on summit, because I felt gratitude next time, because I felt that first time this mountain didn't want me up there. That's why I came back. I had to come. Next time I was firm enough, I was stubborn that I need to go to that mountain, just to prove myself, just to satisfy my ego. But there was no ego when I reached the summit. I was
Right.
all shattered down. I was all humble. I was crying, and
That's
I
what
was looking
nature
like
does
that.
to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Mhm.
I was all humble, and I was thinking that you didn't satisfy your ego, Kapil. It is the mountain who allowed you to reach on the top this time.
Exactly.
So that's a respect I earn, and then from now that onwards, I am little emotional about mountains. I almost have tears in every of my summit, because those summits are hard, man. The snow tracks used to climb at 2 a.m. In the midnight, just to see the sunrise.
Wow.
Every snow track we used to do, we used to get up at 1 a.m., have something light to eat. In minus 15 or minus 13 degrees, we used to, suit up, clothe up, 4 or 5 layers up on the jackets. There's a monkey cap there. There's all that stuff covering everything. The wind is there. And then I have to go put my GoPro on. My hand was like shivering. I was like,
Freaking.
guys, I'm
Listen.
doing this. And right. So it is like that only.
For
So
sure, your food is beautiful.
Probably
thank
pretty
you, thank you,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So
I love movie making.
Diksha Sharma asks us, please tell us about how you guys met each other and where. We met on Instagram.
Mhm.
So we haven't actually met in real person.
No.
But we've been since we
Maybe
met.
she's asking about you. Maybe she's asking about you.
Oh, the two of us.
Oh.
Oh, the two of us. Oh.
Okay.
And
This is a funny
Diksha
story.
Sharma, if I'm not wrong, Diksha,
So we
Diksha is my
met,
sister. She's my sister, by the way, and she's from Nepal. Right now.
Oh,
She's in
hi,
Nepal.
Diksha. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So Andres and I met at a Peruvian restaurant that
It's something about Peru that you know.
yeah, something for sure. We both of us have actually lived here since 2001,
Mhm.
and ironically, we would go to like the same restaurants and the same bars and the same places to go dancing and the same concerts. And I even would go to a lot of the Colombian festivals because there's not very many Costa Ricans in California. There is a Costa Rican festival, but it's not the greatest. So there's a whole lot more of Colombians, and Colombian culture is very similar to my culture. So I would always connect with Colombians. And we ended up meeting at this Peruvian restaurant that on Saturday nights they would have salsa dancing. And so we ended up just meeting up there. And then we ordered drinks and appetizers. And I am like the biggest klutz. I am very, very clumsy. I have really bad peripheral vision. So I hit myself on furniture pieces all the time. And I have like bruises on my skin. The worst part about it is that I make furniture for a living. So my shop is always very cramped with a lot of furniture. I always have bruises on my legs. So we're like having our drinks. I think I had only taken like a couple of sips of my drink, and I don't know if I was nervous or what. I hadn't dated in a really long time. That's probably part of it.
She was nervous.
I was probably nervous. And so I tipped my drink over across the table, and it fell on his lap. So then it looked like
Was it plotted? Was it plotted?
So then it looked like he had peed on himself. And I thought, oh my God, this guy's going to get up from the table and be, you idiot, what the hell were you thinking? And just walk away.
No, I'm a gentleman.
And instead, he asked me to dance.
He's a sweet guy. He's a sweet guy.
For the rest of the night, he danced with me. Like, he looked like he had peed on himself.
Uh-huh.
So I think from then on, I knew kind of he was a keeper because he was, humble enough to not care what other people thought was going on with his pants.
No.
And continue to
You
dance with
guys
me.
look amazing together, and the passion you share together, na, that's amazing. Tell us something about your vehicle, yeah, your Lachata.
Oh, La Chata. So La Chata's a 91 Toyota Dolphin.
Mhm.
We have remodeled her twice over.
We had an accident, and that one was
Yeah, so
pretty major.
we
Yeah.
had remodeled her first so that she didn't look like she had just stepped out of 1984. And then the middle of last year, almost a year ago, we had an accident and it tore through pretty much everything. And so we ended up having to rebuild her again. So now we are just starting to travel in her again this year. We still have a few things that we still have to work out. But
It's looking beautiful.
yeah, and Andres mostly chose her. She's very compact. She's 20 feet long, so she fits into pretty much any parking spot. She's 7 feet wide, so she still fits in like a regular lane of, well, most normal streets.
Mhm.
Not Peruvian streets, but most normal streets. And she's pretty fuel efficiency for the majority of people that live in cars, maybe get like 8 to 10 gallons. No, 8 to 10 miles per gallon, and we get about 13 to 14.
Mhm.
So
That's good, yeah, because there must be a lot of weight on your vehicle, right? It's a resident
Yeah.
vehicle.
yeah,
after all.
she's over
Right, so-
7,500 pounds.
And,
man.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
the motor is amazing. It's one of
Yeah.
the best.
And when we weighed her, Andres was like, "We need to get rid of some weight," and I'm like, "It's gonna have to come off of here because I'm touching my belly, but people can't see it." He goes, "You're gonna have to leave your cast iron skillet at home," and I said, "You get off the car before my cast iron skillet gets off the car."
Well said, well said, well said.
No.
No, she loves to cook. That's
So,
her passion. Mhm.
But we have narrowed things down. When you first start this kind of lifestyle, you want to take everything with you because you never know what you're gonna need. And then as you start traveling, you're like, "Oh yeah, I never really used this thing." And then you end up donating it or something. I would say gear more towards safety and things that you may need to get yourself out of a jam, like tools, a shovel, track boards to get you, or at least something wooden pieces to get you out of like sand if you get stuck, instead of taking, I don't know, the fancy picnic basket that you are maybe never going to use, or I don't know, extra clothing that you really don't need. No, I remember that when we first packed, because it has a very tiny little closet, and I was like, "Okay, you get 2 cubbies, I get 2 cubbies, and we each get 3 pairs of shoes, and that's it." So and I always find it funny that women, especially, I think we're more culpable of it. It's like, and I need these boots, and I need the 2 pairs of tennis shoes, and I need this hiking sandals, I need my slippers, and I need my winter boots, and I'm like,
No, to have this kind of
You
lifestyle,
can't.
you don't need a lot of things.
You can't,
It's- that's the beauty of this.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Going into the nature, in fact, nature, you just have to be raw enough in nature, and you had to be raw enough. You cannot be, fancy, or in that sense, nature accepts you as you are, right?
Right.
And when you go to nature, and when you come back now to the chaos, to the towns,
Yeah.
to the large
Yeah,
buildings, and all that
We don't
stuff.
want to come back. I say to her, no, I don't want to come
Literally,
back.
for 10 days. For 10 days, it was like that. Yeah, fuck, where are you, man? Now, what are you going to do? I mean, you hate starting giving crowds and all the vehicles on the road, and where you were in the mountains, driving only in the road, right? You were
It's
hardly seeing
beautiful.
any passing vehicle in 20 minutes, right? So that is how
we
it
live
goes.
very close to.
And probably we can recommend to people that wants to canoe here some places that they are amazing,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Crater Lake in
Oregon.
Oregon.
Mhm.
Wow, one of the most
Yeah.
beautiful volcanic lakes. No,
Yeah. We've
Yeah.
noticed that too. Like the last time that we did a really long trip,
Mhm.
we went to Montana, Wyoming, and South Dakota. And when we
Mm.
came back, we had been for almost 3 weeks in pretty
Oh.
much silence,
Mhm.
you know, like just in nature, in silence. And even as you're going down the road, there's a lot of roads in the US where like you can go for hours and pretty much not see any other car.
Mhm.
And I remember we came home, it was winter time, so we always had our windows up. But we came home and I opened the door, and where we live here is pretty loud because we live very close to a highway, and so you hear the cars going by in the highway. It gets to the point where it kind of sounds like ocean waves crashing, and you
I
know
can understand that.
we have a yard, and so you hear the birds, and then you hear the neighbors, and everybody was, you know, going out. And I remember that I opened the door and I was like, it's
Wow.
so loud.
Yeah.
Like it took me a while to acclimate again to all the noise. And you don't realize, I mean, we've lived in Los Angeles for 20 plus years, so you don't realize everything, right? All the pollution, but not just the contamination in the air, but the contamination of noise, of
Mhm.
light, of
Mm.
chaos, of trash, of just people everywhere.
That's
So-
that's I think the big cities around the world.
Yeah, we pretty much try to avoid big cities everywhere we go. We're
See,
not
talking
fans.
about the trash, even, that's a very big problem in mountains these days. I have an initiative started. If you can see that, there is a hashtag called Heal the Hills.
Mm.
Heal the
Actually,
Hills.
actually, we are collaborating with some people in Colombia. They have a great idea about plastic, and it's something that we
Mm.
want to be part of. Can you tell them about?
So they've been collecting plastic from the ocean. It's a beach
Okay.
town,
Uh-huh.
or a few little beach towns.
How many?
And
Six?
And so they've been collecting all the trash that the ocean brings into their beach.
Oh, see.
Um, And they've collected over 6,000 tons of trash.
Oh, man.
Mhm.
6,000 tons of trash. And they're melting it down, and with sawdust and other materials, they're turning it into bricks to build anything you want to build, just like a regular brick would be,
Yeah.
you know, made out of stone or made out of cement or made out of dirt of some sort. They're making it out of plastic, which for a tropical environment is even better because it doesn't get ruined by the rain, it doesn't get eaten by termites, and
Yes.
it's already a regular a better insulation than if
Mhm.
you had, you know, I don't know, fiberglass or something of that nature. So they're taking away a problem, cleaning up their beaches, cleaning up their towns, and giving people the opportunity to build their homes or a park for a kid or a tent for somebody
Using those things.
in
Yes.
with the bricks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
There's
a problem worldwide. I was just in Peru.
everywhere.
We went to this natural reserve to go see a salt lake, and it was 4 hours up the hill over 11,000 feet. And it wasn't like the trash where you think, oh, somebody was just driving by and threw the bottle or the plastic bag or whatever they were eating out the door, kind of a thing. No, it was like truckloads of trash going down the hill, the entire hills full of trash. And I don't mean like just plastic and regular human trash. I mean like piles and piles of tires and construction waste, all these things inside of land that it's supposed to be protected and preserved.
Mhm.
Yes. And I remember that because I was with my stepmom and my aunts, and all of us were just like, why is this happening? Why? This is supposed to be a natural reserve. How is there no control over this happening? Why isn't there anyone here at some point controlling that these dump aren't happening?
Yeah, and like we try to don't give a lot of trash into the environment.
But, I mean, obviously, when you're living in a small space, you're trying to
Mhm.
be as minimalistic as
Exactly.
possible. And every time we go on a hike,
Mhm.
every time we camp somewhere, we always pick up trash. We
Yeah.
always leave it cleaner than
Exactly.
when we
This is
have-
what I was about to tell you, that what we also used to do is that we carry the garbage bags with us, right? And what we do that we used to put the trash into garbage bags, even if it is not ours, while on the
Right.
walk. And when that is full, we just put a stone on that bag, because forest department anyways took a drill in every 3-4 months to
Mm.
clean it up a bit, but they don't have to collect it. So we collect it, place it there, and then move the other garbage bag, and we obviously burn or take our trash back, because the best way to is to burn it if it is not you are
Toxic.
not able to carry it, yeah, it's not
Mhm.
toxic, right? And up above the mountain you can even when we do shit, even then we we used to dig a hole in that. It's the army style
Right.
pot, right? And then we put it on, and then it get decomposed like this. Don't use wet wipes anytime in your mountains. They don't decompose
Decompose.
automatically. They
Right.
don't decompose, right? You need to get your sanitary pads back as well, right? There have been ladies going with us, and then you have to put your polythene back to us. In fact, there are few tracks where they used to write the number of wrappers you are having: biscuit wrapper, chips wrapper, and if even a single wrapper is less, then there is a fine of $500 per wrapper.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's a very good initiative by
Yes.
Uttarakhand government. Uttarakhand, yeah.
Yes.
So they
What
used
the
to.
people in what the people in Colombia want to do, which in Medellin they've started doing, is that you take your plastic and your recyclables to something that kind of looks like a vending machine, and then they give you a
Hmm.
card that kind of looks like a credit card, and you put it into the vending machine. You put in all your recyclables, and it gives you money on your credit card so that you can use it for public transportation.
Is what they are doing in Medellin. That's
So it's a
something.
great
That's good motivation.
incentive. So one of the things that we had been talking about with this group of well,
Engineers
I guess
and
yes,
architects. Yeah.
with this group of people that are trying to do this is that we would also get together with a lot of other van lifers, because for a lot of us, some of the things that we would like to do in other countries are sometimes very cost prohibitive, right? Like we won't have the money to be able to do so. And so we were thinking that maybe more of a tourism incentive. So like being able to go in a night restaurant, or maybe staying a couple of nights in a nicer hotel, or maybe being able to go whitewater rafting or zip lining, something that maybe you normally don't have, I don't know, $80, $100 to do. But if you were able to collect it as your recyclables, then everybody should be able to be incentivized to have a nicer time.
And it's a great
And
it's a great idea to do it around the world.
right.
That's
And a lot of companies, I think, would jump on board the fact that, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're going to go eat maybe for less money with some discount, or maybe for free, or you're going to have a night that maybe costs $40 for $20 instead. But eventually you're going to tell other people. So it's not like they're necessarily going to be losing money.
And we are educating people too, because it's what that's the problem. We need to educate people.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, the biggest
Exactly. You know what? I'll tell you one thing. There is a Brazilian lady, and she's staying in Himachal in a hill station. The hill station is named McLeodganj, and there is a very famous beginner track. This track is just 7-8 kilometers up. That track, government has to close that track for 2 years just because of trash it accumulated there.
Wow.
Wow.
They stopped camping. They stopped camping on the top because there was so much of trash. And that lady has been exemplary examples. That lady coming from the other nation is doing the cleaning there just because she don't want mountains to be dirty.
Exactly.
And she's been exceptional example, right? And she used to take mules, 3-4 horses and mules up, and then she stays there. She chills out. She do camping, and by the time in 3-4 days, the other people gather trash, and they were loaded into the mules and taken to the town back from that track. So she's doing that thing. In fact, I tell you, I realized that the amount of chaos we have already made, we humans have already made, is not possible to clean in our lifetime at least.
No.
So we have to educate our generations to do this, because I still recall where I was born. It used to snow there that time when I was in 10th. Now it doesn't snow there.
Wow.
Climate change.
I mean, see, it's not about generation. I can only see the Kullu, the place which I'm talking about, where hot spring water was there, that is a
Now,
district. It
we need
hardly
to
snows there now.
we need to do
Huh?
something. We need to do something, and we need
I mean,
to
and
work together.
you're 30 years old. We're in our mid 40s.
Uh-huh.
And I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, I mean, in a place like my own country in Costa Rica, when I used to be a kid there, you would actually need a sweater. In December, it was nice and chilly. And now
Hmm.
you don't ever
And we
need a
don't
sweater.
have the winter season has so shrink down. It is just of 20 days, 30 days maximum when you actually wear heavy clothes, right? Otherwise, it is not.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's
I remember
worldwide. I
winters to
mean,
be 3 months.
And I don't know, everything is possible, but we need to be conscious about it.
I mean,
Yeah.
We have
what's
to.
really
That's
ironic
the
for
high
us
time.
is like we don't even have any kids, and yet we worry about this, right?
Mm.
Like you would think people that have kids should worry even more. Like you're leaving, what kind of a planet are you leaving for your kids, and then for your kids' kids? Like if you're not educating your kids to do something about it, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, people, the generation which is coming up is pretty sensible, I would say, because as you know, the good thing about trekking or hiking is that over past 10, 15 years, 10 years, I would say, hiking has been projected very beautifully. And there is a lot of awareness about hiking.
Yes.
So people are now aware of it, right?
Right.
And some people are aware, they are really aware, they don't want to put trash on the mountains. Some people do it because they don't want to look like a fool, right, in front of others. So they
Right.
just keep it into their pocket. I remember one incident. I was driving in the mountain last month, right, and there was a tempo traveler coming ahead, and it was a traffic jam. And those guys were there. Somebody threw a chips and a water bottle outside, and I was driving back, and I hate this thing, right? So the jam suddenly got opened, so they moved and I moved behind that, and I was waiting to just cross their path and stop that vehicle and ask him to pick that up. Luckily, after a few meters, that jam again happened. I got out from the car. I just knock in the window that somebody of you throw that trash. So they denied. They
Wow.
were looking like this, that we didn't. They were looking the opposite to me.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the driver, and then I made that guy get out and go back 200 meters and pick that thing up, and then put into
Good for
his
you.
bus.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's what
That's
you
how it
should
should
do.
be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isra Estrada says, "Hola, saludos." That means hi.
high in Spanish.
Hi,
So-
hi, hi.
Hi.
So I was talking about adventurous. Yeah, tell me something what is the most adventurous or crazy thing have you done while traveling?
Separate or together?
Not together. As Buenavidaroute. Yeah.
Has Buenavidaroute?
Yeah,
What is the
yeah.
most adventurous thing
Whatever.
we've done?
For me, one of the most beautiful places.
Well, not places, but adventurous thing we've done.
adventure. Yeah.
Which got you shiver, and you think
When
that,
we
oh, this
woke
might
up
be
in
my last
snow in
adventure.
Utah, probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was one.
So
of-
in the middle of summer, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, literally 2 years ago in June, which is summertime here. It should be like in the 90s. We went up to Utah, and by the second night, we woke up with 3 inches of snow on La Chata.
Oh,
And we were going with other friends that were camping in tents.
Mhm.
They didn't have a vehicle like we did. And so I woke up and I was like, oh, we have snow. And I'm like so excited. And our friends like ended up coming out from their cars and like, yeah, for you guys, we were freezing. We ended up having to get in our car. But the night before, when we were trying to find them, we ended up going over 1,000 feet higher than they were because we lost our GPS, we lost everything. We ended
Obviously.
up sleeping on a slant on the side of this parking lot because
Like
we,
that.
we couldn't find anywhere to stay. So kind of like what happened to you. We ended up getting there late, except that we weren't going to be falling into any hill.
Uh-uh.
And we were in our car. But yeah, so it definitely
that
like
was okay.
completely unexpected. We had taken summer clothes, and we had taken
And-
lightweight clothes, and
and-
then all of a sudden it was like we needed a winter coat.
And something that happened to us that people needs to know is you need to check the
Oh, your nuts on your tires.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time, because that thing happened twice. I say, oh my God.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what happens,
No.
weather forecasting is very unreal these days, some especially in the regions where the people visit less. In fact, talking about adventure, that was the one I did when we encountered a animal. There was one incident that we were sleeping in the tent and I had to pee. It was midnight and we just had fireplace. We were sitting outside, uh, and we felt something is there. We just shouted and that thing was gone. We don't know what was that, right? Uh, and then we eventually went to our tent. I was sleeping with my buddy Nandan, and two guys were sleeping in the other tent. So that was slightly like this, like your tent, Sherry. It was slanted,
Right.
right? So Nandan being on the heavier side, he used to come over me every now and then. Come over me. I'm like, go side, guy. I was like this only, right? And one small stone was under my mat. I mean, that was teasing me. I was not able to, sleep properly, not rest rather. And what happened at that? It was full moon night. Full moon night.
You're
Mind
you're
you, I
getting
have seen
stuck.
full moon on mountains.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can you hear now?
No, Kapil, you're getting stuck.
Yeah, Roddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear
And
me
we
now? Am I audible?
yeah, we can hear you now. And we probably should start getting off because we've been together for an hour and a half now.
Yes.
Time flies. Time flies.
Time
Oh my-
flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So it was
Yeah.
like that only, and there was a bear coming and smelling us outside the tent. Grizzly
Wow.
bear, and he napped on my head, outside the tent, and I felt something. I felt, what is it? And it was a full moon, so when he went like this, I was able to see shadow, complete shadow in the moon,
Right.
and I was like, fuck, and I had to pee. I am asking Nanda to pee. What should I do? We cannot make noise because bears are foolish animals. They don't
Right.
fear.
They are.
Even they just irrespective of the fact they might die or something like this, they just charge it. So
wow.
and still I was so scared. I just opened that.
So Andres's last name is Osorio, and oso means bear in Spanish. And he's always wanted to see a bear. So every park that we've been to, we keep on wanting to see a bear.
And I
It's
never
never
saw it.
happened. But
Never happened.
I don't want to see it under the condition that you saw
It
it.
should
in.
no. It shouldn't happen in that sense. It shouldn't happen in that sense because White Animals doesn't say anything, but he was curious. So he went, and then I have to go out. I didn't went out. I just opened the tent zip. I just half get out and then peed and came back again. I was not going outside.
Wow.
So it was like that only. But yeah, this was fun. And when you believe in mountains, it happens. It carries all together, right? And all over, I would say, all over experiences that I'm so into it right now that I started craving for it every next month, somewhere to go. This year, I have never been to last 3-4 months because I was going some sort of physiotherapy of my knees. It got crammed up in last year track. So I had to got a kneecap. So doctor told me that do not track for at least two months, but you can travel, of course. So that is something I wanted to tell you. Do not take it granted because on one track I descended down very fast. On 9 kilometers, it just took me 1.5 hours. 9 kilometers.
Wow.
So that sort of, it's not wow. I'm still struggling for it because
I know.
it should not do it. That's it. So it was something there I had to reach earlier, something like this. So now my physiotherapy is going on, but that's not painful at all. But yeah, I have to avoid these things. So as any tracker out there, you should know that tracking is not about a race. So when somebody says that I reached first at the summit, you reached second at the summit, that's not the point, man. Tracking is everybody should reach. And you should take baby steps or small steps one at a time. Mountains cannot be ran through. It is not a track, right? Where you ran through and cover 100 meters.
Yeah. Go slow.
Just go down. Every body is different. Every metabolism is different. Everybody's. So you have to respect that. You just need to walk slowly, steadily, and don't just walk to complete the destination itself. Enjoy the nature, enjoy the sounds. You will love it while doing track. As having said that, journey is more important than the destination, right?
Right.
And ironically, tracking is something, Sherry, and there is in many of the summits, you cannot stop more than 15-20 minutes. For that, you tracked up to 2-3 days.
Right.
But not 15-20 minutes staying is not recommended, because that's high up altitude, weather can change like a snap.
Mhm.
Right.
It was, you won't believe, in July our mustaches and beard were covered with snow.
Wow.
Wow.
It was like that. It was like all whitey,
Frozen.
something like this, frozen, and we were like this. What is this, man? So
Mhm.
in July, the mist was snow basically. So it's not recommended to stay there up, because temperature can change at any time.
Right.
So see the effort you do for 2-3 days just for 15 minutes of view. So you better enjoy those efforts as well, for
Right.
those journeys and all that stuff, and make it worth it. And so respect mountains, and they will respect you back. That's something which I have to say.
Best tip of the night.
Mhm.
And well, in general,
Yeah.
respect nature.
Respect
and
nature.
and then
Respect nature, yes.
Okay.
absolutely.
And
I
they will
think-
make you humble. They will make you humble as well, out in your
Absolutely.
journal board, in your job, in your relationships, and in whatever field you are there. Mountain will make you humble. Nature will make you humble, and you will be a better person coming out. That's what I felt.
Exactly.
That's
That's
what my each travel made felt.
That's the main point.
For sure.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Kapil,
Thank you
so
very
much
much.
for joining us and for your amazing
It was great.
your
Yeah.
amazing reel on Instagram.
Oh, we love it.
we loved it. It had a lot of views, so we're very
I will keep
grateful for it.
whipping. I will keep making those reels for you guys. Yesterday I make a snow skating reel. You must have seen it.
Oh, yes, we did. So
And
he
it-
makes,
So
for
yeah, I'll
everybody
keep
watching
making.
us, he makes amazing video content,
Mhm.
both on YouTube and on Instagram. So make sure to follow him. He's Hunks on Heels on all the different
And I would say
platforms.
the opposite. If you want to feel the travel experience, which I am going to be after a few years, because I want to own a RV, just like you guys, man. So
Uh-huh.
you will be my first point of contact, Andres.
Absolutely,
What to take, how
absolutely.
to do,
Any tips that
right?
anybody needs about RVing
I want
or
to have an RV. I
van
want to
life of
move
any
on
way,
wheels.
please let us
We
know.
become an expert.
Yeah. After all
Yes.
these years, for sure.
Uh,
All right. Well, thank
So,
you so
yeah,
much.
Okay.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
rest
Have a
of your
great day.
day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Love you. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Bye.
Thank you.